Jamie here. Do you ever have one of those days when nothing is going right? Maybe you get up on the wrong side of the bed, or you're out of coffee at home and you have to rush to get to work, or traffic makes you late. And then something happens or someone says the wrong thing and then boom, you explode. Well, you're not the only one who has a bad day here and there. So do our friends, coworkers, and guests who come to our city. Think about it. Guests are in unfamiliar territory depending upon us for basic services like transportation, food, and a place to sleep. They may even be tired of the people that they're traveling with. Now, who hasn't had to deal with that? So maybe they got up on the wrong side of an unfamiliar bed, no breakfast, tried to pack too many things into one day, and they run into you, something goes wrong, and boom. Okay, so here's a little fun fact to help you understand the impact that you make on a guest experience. Remember this number, 2.9013. Now, psychologist and business consultant Marcia Losada found that it takes 2.9 positive interactions to counteract one negative one. So think of tourism workers in your town as a team, and you're all linked together and an overall guest experience to your community. You don't want to be the one that is part of a negative experience and leaves it for the others to clean up later. Or worse, a negative experience that never gets corrected and you lose a guest forever. And then they share their story on social media, influencing others to never come to your town. You, my friend, are faced with a recovery situation, a unique opportunity to turn a negative experience into a positive one, and even exceed expectations if you handle it well. The challenge to any recovery situation is to resolve the problem before the guest leaves your 8-foot space. In today's class on recovering from difficult situations, we will be relying on some of the skills learned in our Get Connected class. Skills like active listening, using the other person's words back to them, and clarifying their real needs. In difficult situations, you'll need to apply those skills and more. You'll also need to maintain control under pressure. Analyze what's really going on. Deal with emotion first. Clarify needs and take action. Make amends and leave them feeling good. Did you know that our thoughts control our emotions, or that our emotions trigger our behaviors? It's true. What you think tells you how to feel, and in turn, what to do. It's natural. We all do it. Think plus feel equals do. That leads to a key question. Can somebody make you mad? Can I make you mad? Most people would say yes. If people are rude or obnoxious, insulting or unkind, that can make you mad, right? Okay, guess what my answer is to that? And it's probably not the most popular one. No, nobody can make you mad. You are in control of you. You can't let somebody else control whether or not you're going to be mad. It's up to you. Why? Because you choose your own thoughts. Everything you do is your choice. You choose it, you decide it, you control it. Instead of allowing someone to control your thoughts, try to get into analysis mode rather than reactive or anger mode. What happened before this? Is this a long string of events that's driving that anger? If you can look at the real issue and try to think about and analyze what's happening instead of getting caught up in it, you can maintain control. So let's look at some tips on how to handle situations where emotions are on high. Number 1, treat the emotion first. Acknowledge that they are upset. Say something helpful and lead the tone to a lower level. Be upset on their behalf. How can you do this easily and simply? Well, repeat back the upset guest's key words, the ones that they're probably repeating and or shouting. Let's say you're working at a place where kids have an area to play, like a playground or a museum or even a restaurant waiting area. Now, all of a sudden, 2 adults are screaming at the top of their lungs at each other, and you spot it. Once you get in between them and ask what happened, you discover that one child hit the other, and the 2 parents have exchanged words in an aggressive tone. Well, of course, the best thing to do is to immediately separate the 2 adults, and if you can, take the most upset one behind the scenes or to another space to change the energy and to get the dispute out of public view. Sometimes by changing location, even if it's just a few feet, it helps. Ask once again what happened and listen with empathy. You need to be upset on behalf of this person. The parent tells you that while they weren't looking, another child hit their child who came running up to them screaming with a mark on their arm. They want something done. Which one of these is a good empathy response? Well, you just never know what kids are going to do. Or, I know you're mad, but come on, you weren't watching your kid either. Or, there's no doubt you're outraged, and I'd be very upset if something like this happened to my child too. We will take care of this right away. Well, what about A? Well, that's not a good one because you're acting like it's no big deal when clearly it's a huge deal to the parent. It makes it sound like you don't care and aren't going to resolve anything. How about B? I know you're mad, but come on. That's not the point. The point is they felt wronged and it has affected their experience negatively. Now C is an empathetic statement. You're not solving anything, but you're telling the person that you understand. And notice in C's response that there's a promise of action, which is what they said they wanted. By repeating that, they know that you, 1, heard them, and 2, are taking them seriously. So remember, use an empathy statement that helps the person vent and lets them know that you heard them. Never argue with a guest. You could win the argument, but lose the guest forever. Let's move on to tip number 2. Clarify what the customer wants and take action. Now that you understand using empathy and treating the emotion first, you need to move the situation along and give them something to think about. Using our previous example, a good response would be to calmly say, "It sounds like you want to make sure something is done about the incident and it doesn't happen again. Is that right?" You can also try the "while I can't" formula. While I can't make up for the hurt that your child has suffered, I can make sure that the other parent understands that no matter what provoked the incident, we do not tolerate that type of behavior. And if any other incident happens, our management will be involved and we will ask them to leave. So while I can't do X, I can do Y. Okay, there's also the bad news formula. While I can't make up for the hurt that your child has endured, I can make sure that you're not near that party for the rest of your visit and insert any considerations you can grant and then move their name up in the wait line. So it's bad news, but good news and good news and good news. Tip number 3, make amends. The definition for this is to compensate, as for an injury, loss, or insult. People can feel entitled to something when they feel that they've been treated unfairly or they feel that they've been treated poorly. If you do have the option to offer extra help or you know of a way to make this guest recognize that you've made an effort to make amends, now would be the time. So going back to our example, a statement that could help you make amends could be, "I'd really like to make it up to you by recommending a great place for you to check out while you're here in town." And here's another one. "I'm so sorry about all the stress, but if you need a great spot to relax, right by your hotel is a spot called Founders Park, and it's got fountains, it's very green with a pond for the kids, and it always makes me feel good when I'm there." And finally, tip number 4, and we've mentioned this one before, leave them feeling good. Remember that experiences are all about how you make people feel, and if they feel good or great, they will return. You can use a statement like, "Thanks for coming in today. I know you had a bad thing happen, but I hope that we responded well enough for you to consider coming back, and know that any of us are available to help make your time with us great." So now you see how a difficult situation can actually be turned around to exceed expectations and set things back on track for a great visit to your town. Just remember the 4 tips. Treat the emotion first, clarify what the customer wants and take action, make amends, and leave them feeling good. See you next time.